And I have one more example. That example is long, but it exists only for demonstration purpose of different mapping. In addition to one-to-many, many-to-many, it also has one-to-one, and it also has templates in it. So let's open it, and also that example is using service to combine data before you show this in template for convenience. So this way we can separate combining data logic from template from controller logic. So it is for separation of concerns. Okay. So let's clone that one. It is PetDataDemo without word service. This is longer, it has more data and more tables. This one, copy. And by the way, before we go there, let's see the data for courses and students in H2 database. While it's still running, so let's go to H2, console. This is what I mentioned, courses, students, and third table for many-to-many relationship. Student courses run, and you see it's combining IDs of student and ID of the courses to maintain this registration logic. Okay, questions? So this is the logic for many-to-many mapping. Next, let's continue with the discussion example for student data. PetDataDemo. Copy, clone. I will stop this one, and I will even close this one. And a new project from version control, Control V. This example does not have any login for simplicity because the goal of this example is to show database logic. And it's also doesn't have any update features. It's just browsable stuff. So let's open it. In data, I have GPA section and entity. In this program, I have a class, say, pet entity, and I also have a class pet. And I also have pet details. So I separated model from database classes. Sometimes it makes sense. For example, you want to combine data from different tables to create object that you want to display in on a page. Okay. So I'm combining data in class, call it service. So let's open that. Pet data service, pet data service here, for example. It returns pet details class. And this pet details class contains hobbies of a pet. There is a table called hobbies. And hobbies associated with pet with many-to-many relationship. One pet can have several hobbies, and the same hobby can be associated with more than one pet. Okay. So these service classes, pet data service, pet owner classes, are designed for combining data. And eventually, it's returning pet details, for example. Okay. To separate this data manipulation, which is business logic, from controller, which is that controller is supposed to be like a technological thing that selects template and gives the data, and here it is. So let's run it and see what it is doing. So I'm going to go to localhost 8080. I have a list of users who are pet owners. And info to details. I have list of pets and info to details. For example, if I click on fluffy cat info, I get combination between several tables because the service created object with data from several tables. Pet cat, then link to contact, link to owner, so display owner information, contact of the owner, and this is more about owner, and also listing pet hobbies. And this is coming from pet hobbies table. So for convenience, I created service class that is putting this together into one object, is given to controller, and controller is inserting this into template. So sometimes it makes it a lot easier. So the services are kind of business logic that you can separate from controller to make controller easier to follow. Next, okay, let's go to users. And for example, Brenda Clark info. In this case, I combined data from pet owner, then contact information, email and phone. This contact information is mapped one-to-one. So it is contact info entity exists in this example to show one-to-one mapping. And when I scroll down, I see list of pets, right? A list of pets of this owner. Okay. And this will be details of this pet. Okay. So this example is only for browsing data. It doesn't have update features. Okay, it was done in rush, half day of sitting and typing. To show relationship between tables. So let's open that. A pet entity. And entity, you see that in pet kind, it is enum type. And you need to specify how to store it in database because database enum is not the same as JavaScript, Java enum. And this line is specifying that store it as a string in database. This is many to many. This is not necessary, but if you specify it, it will be explicitly this one. Also join table. These parts will be generated by default using default naming convention. If you specify them, it will stick to what you specify. When you have relationship, you can use links, you can use list, you can use sets, you can also use hash map. All of them work. No, not hash. Hash map? No. Let me think. No. Sets and lists. Why do I use set? To show, yeah, why not? You can use set. Okay. So we can use list or set, and it will just work fine. A list maintains order, set doesn't. Right? So when order is not important, yeah. And by the way, list is populated from database, and you don't have control of that, how it will create the list. Okay. So this part is many to many because we link between pets and hobbies. And many to one, this link is between pet and owner. Right? Many on pet side, owner side is one. Let's go back to owner here. And in this case, link in both directions. See, this would be list of pets of that owner, and on that way, this link to owner. If we look up at relationship between pets and hobbies, I created link only in one direction, but we can create also in opposite direction. It's allowed. It's not allowed if you want to specify type eager, it means retrieve it with the object. You cannot do it on both sides because this will create infinite loop. But otherwise, it's fine. Okay. So in this case, I created persist explicitly like in previous example, because I populate pets the same way. I add them to owner and I save owner. So let's see how this is made. Data is populated. In data initializer, the same way, call it service, two repositories, pet owner repository, pet hobby, but I didn't need pet repository because it is cascading to that. From pet owner to pets. Now, create hobby, bringing sleepers to humans, chasing squirrels, watching fish. Okay, so those are hobbies. Hobby, 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 and I save it hobby because I don't have a cascade to hobby. I have to save them separately. Next, creating Patricia, and info. I suspect that I have a cascade from pet owner to info because I don't have a separate save for info. Okay, let's check. Pet owner to info. You see, I have cascade persist. So info, contact information, is persisted when I persist owner. Okay, going back to initialization. Next, I add hobbies to Charlie. Then I add Charlie to Patricia as a pet. And then created Fluffy, add hobbies to the Fluffy, add to Patricia, and I save Patricia. And it will cascade to saving Fluffy and Charlie. And repeat for other owners. So this is how I populated the database.